Alright, I know that everyone watching this has hurt themselves at least once in their life, and if you haven't, then how the hell are you even human? I'm here to talk about some injuries I got earlier on in my 14, nearly 15 years of being on planet Earth. This first story starts midsummer of 2020 with little 12-year-old me riding on his bike from his house to a friend's house to hang out. For privacy reasons, this friend will not be named. Instead, I will call them Blank. I was coming up close to the graveyard and I turned and waited for the traffic to let me through. Then after a path was cleared for me, I drove across the road and went zooming down a little hill into the back area of the graveyard. You see, my graveyard was split into two areas. The graveyard, which was on my right, and a row of houses straight ahead. I was headed for the row of houses which was straight ahead. About 15 seconds after going down the short hill, I decided to see if I could steer my bike with my hands on the handles they weren't supposed to be on. Basically, I was trying to see if I could crisscross my arms on my bike handles. This would be the mistake that ultimately led to this injury. Almost immediately after attempting this stupid challenge, my bike went out of control, flung forward, causing me to fly through the air. The flying was fun, but the inevitable fall was next. After what felt like forever being in the air, I came crashing down on the ground. I covered my face and my right knee was out the furthest from my body, and that's the area that took the most damage. Bang! My knee just made contact with the ground, and I immediately felt the agonizing pain. The tracksuit bottoms I was wearing were torn at the knee in an instant, and I was able to easily inspect the damage caused by the fall. What I saw was horrifying for a 12-year-old. The cut was extremely deep, and I think I could see a bit of my bone. This cut wasn't a small area of my knee, no. It was covering 70% of my entire knee. After the damage occurred, a duo of old ladies on the jog came to my aid. They helped me finish my journey to Blank's house, and their granddad helped to patch me up and send me home, as I was limping severely and could barely walk. That's where this story ends. Special thanks to Blank's granddad. Moving on to the second story. This one takes place rather recently in the midsummer of 2022, when me and a past friend were hanging out on top of Banks. No, I do not mean money banks. I actually mean steep, small grass hill banks. I will name this friend Blank 2 as to not reveal his identity. Me and Blank 2 were messing around, sliding down the hill, making up action skits, and having a ball. We were doing this for about an hour, and we were almost due to be in for curfew. We were getting ready to leave the area and part ways, and we were sliding down the hill for the final time. I was going down the hill for the 6th time, and midway through the slide, my foot moved slightly, and I heard a pop in that area, followed by an excruciating pain. I screamed, and Blank 2 rushed over to me to find the cause of my painful scream. He then found that I had dislocated my ankle, but Blank 2 was used to dislocating things on his body and knew how to relieve the pain and pop it back into place. He popped it back, and of course I screamed again in pain, as it was my first time doing something like this. After this little accident, we made it our number one priority to get back to my house as soon as possible. After we got to my house, my dad inspected and concluded that it was a sprain. But in reality, he didn't know that Blank 2 popped my ankle back in place. After that, he put my foot in a bandage and told me to let it rest for a few days. And he thanked Blank 2 for helping me get home. The final story takes place in Florida, where I was away on holiday with my family. I can't remember when it was, but I can remember that it was before the bike injury mentioned earlier, and I can remember everything else to a T. It was a rainy day in Florida, and when it rains in America, it doesn't rain gently, no. It rains like someone poured a bucket onto your head. Me and the rest of the family were in a supermarket getting groceries and snacks. I think we spent a good hour in that supermarket, and we should have spent another hour, as when we left, the rain had intensified so much that I thought we were in a hurricane. On the way back to the apartment, I was struggling to walk since I was wearing flip-flops in the heavy rain. This is important for later. When we were within the area of the apartment building, I was jumping up and down the curb, and since I was wearing flip-flops in the rain, it was only a matter of time before karma came into play. It was a dumb decision to be jumping up and down on the curb while wearing flip-flops in the rain, because soon after we turned the corner, I slipped and my right knee slammed into the somewhat sharp curb. It wasn't as deep a cut as the first story, but it still hurt like a BCH. My parents helped me get back to the apartment, patched me up, and then for the rest of the holiday I was tormented by them and my siblings because of that. This is where I'm going to leave this video until I get motivated to make part 2. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to destroy that like button, subscribe and turn notifications to stay updated whenever I post more content like this. I love you guys, and Guava's Commentary out.